Yeah, I want to talk about Oprah, you know, and my and why and why I think that God had me once I left Philadelphia to go to a different state. I think he waited until I did that, you know, because I had just came off the thing with Kobe Bryant throwing the ball up and stuff like that. But I want to talk a little bit more about Oprah. And I was like, when I thought about it the other day, I was kind of like surprised because I remember watching. I had seen something that interview that Oprah did years ago. And I remember her saying that she always knew that she was destined for greatness. And I think when I seen that interview and heard her say that, it's something within me felt the same way. And for some reason, I don't know, when she said that, it was something in me felt the same way. And so when I because I you know, looking at her life, you know, I could see the greatness, but I also wonder if I had something to do with it based on when I left Philly in 82. I left Philly in 82 and went to another state. And I really don't know what actual year that I actually seen her on the TV. It was either 82 or 83. And when I seen her on the TV as a news anchor woman, and that was my interest. And God connected me and her together based on that interest. And because when I seen her on the TV, she was a news anchor woman. And that was my interest. As you know, that was my interest, and that was the connection. So when that happened, you know, I went over to the TV, and the power, meaning not so much what I'm saying, when I talk about the power, I'm talking about the power from me to her. But I turned on the TV power, and that power, when I touched that TV, and that power that went through the TV, and as someone came up upon the screen, that person was Oprah Winfrey doing the news. Once I touched the TV, and you know, like that, and it was like that, and I was like, oh my goodness, you know. But here's the thing, it had to be something that because at that moment, it was the TV power, the power from me. Because we had the likewise interest, which is news anchor woman, God made sure that I connected with her. And out of anybody in that town, why did he wait for me to come to that town? It wasn't anybody in that town that could connect to her like I did. It wasn't about her coming to to Philadelphia. It wasn't even, you know, it wasn't like God sent her to me. No, God sent me to her, you know, and stuff like that. And you know, and stuff like that. It wasn't anybody in the town for me to connect to. I mean, for her to connect to. You know, if God wanted to make a connection with her, there wasn't anybody in that town that could do that. And it had to take someone from another town, which is me, another state, which is me, to come to that town and give her the power to do what she was destined to do. Or I believe the power for me, because I think Kobe Bryant was the one when I threw the ball up and he was born that year. When I threw the ball up and he was born that year, and he was also a future basketball player. So that power itself, that same power created a birth. He was born. That same power. He was born and he became a future basketball player. That power. When I threw that ball across the room, I used my strength and power to do that. And it was way past half court. When I threw the ball across the room, I was way past half court. So you can tell that there was some strength and power to that, to go all the way across the room and go right into the basket. And I'm way past half court. So there's that power that did that. And then once it goes into the basket, a star is born. And then he's a future basketball star is born. Like that. It had to, and I looked at the power that is connected with that. Because if I threw the ball up, and stuff like that, and Kobe Bryant is born that same year, and he became a future basketball player. There's some power in that. It definitely is some power in that, So when I think about Oprah Winfrey, I think the same way. There was some power in that. It was power. Power came, and when I went to the next town, and I went over to the TV, and again, before I say, I had interest in news anchor woman already. My interest was in news anchor woman. When I went over to the next town, I had some interest. I think I had some interest when I was in Philly. But here's where I'm getting at, is that because of that interest in news anchor woman, God, when I went to the different state, God connected me to a person who was a news anchor woman. And it wasn't about me becoming a news anchor woman. It wasn't about that, because I never did. But here's the thing. When I went over to the TV and cut the TV on, right now, when I went over there and touched that TV, power was released at that point. Because when I think about Kobe Bryant, it was the same thing. Once I went over there and touched that ball, and I threw it across the room, a star was born that year, and he became a future basketball player. So therefore, that power created that. That power created a person who was born that year. That power created a future basketball player. And so when I go over to the TV and turn that TV, when I go over to the TV and touch that TV, right? Power exude from me to the TV. And who comes on the TV? A news anchor woman. My interest, right? My interest, because my interest was already news anchor woman. So when I goes over to the TV, power exude from me to the TV, right? Now, when that person came up on the screen, there was a news anchor woman sitting there, right? And that person became Oprah Winfrey. Was Oprah Winfrey. Now, because I touched the TV, after I touched the TV with her as news anchor woman, because I touched the TV had the power. There was power in that when I did that. And because of TV, look what Oprah Winfrey became, did after that day that I touched TV. After that day that I touched that TV. Now, I touched the TV with power. Power exuded from me to whoever was going to show up on the TV screen. And that person was Oprah Winfrey. And then I looked, and she was a news anchor woman. My interest, and that's how we connected. My interest as news anchor woman, and she was a news anchor woman once I touched that TV and touched that TV with power. Touched that TV with power. After I did that and turned the TV on, there was a news anchor woman sitting right there. And when I think about her being a news anchor woman, you know, and stuff like that, and when I think about anything happened after that, because I touched the TV, then Oprah Winfrey, everything she did after that was on television. Everything she did after that was television, because you know, she had after I've seen her as a news anchor woman, then she got her talk show, and she had that for 25 years, and then she got her own TV network, and that's been on since 10 plus years now, you know, and stuff like that. And then she got her own camera, and then she can pull that camera out and do special interviews and stuff like that. So, you know, I think that God waited until, you know, it couldn't have been anybody else in that town that he could have chosen for someone to hook up to her. Again, I believe it's power, my power from me to her. I believe that the same thing with Kobe Bryant when I went and threw the ball up, and it was amazing, and it was way past half court, and it went all the way across the room and into the basket. How special, that power and everything from that. And then he's born, and then he became a future basketball. All that power exuded to Kobe Bryant. Now, when I did the same thing with Oprah, all that power went straight to Oprah Winfrey and her life. And look what came after that day that I went over there and touched that TV with power. Power from me. Power. When I touched that TV, just like the basketball, when I touched that TV, and she was the news anchor woman. Look at everything after the news anchor woman that she did on television. Because I touched that television. And once I touched that television, she came on TV after I touched that. And after that, I really looked at it, and, you know, I would say how amazing. How amazing that was when I did that, and it was so amazing that happened once I went over there and touched that TV, because everything that happened afterwards, after I touched that TV, and a news anchor woman showed up there, and that person was Oprah Winfrey. When I went over there and touched the TV, that was power. Once I touched that. And then after I touched it and turned it on, there was a news anchor woman sitting right there. Again, news anchor woman was my interest. God always used my interest, just like Kobe Bryant with the basketball. He always used my interest. And once my interest came upon, once I went over there to the TV and touched that, power exude from me. Now, when I turned it on, there was a person there, and that person was a news anchor woman, and that person was Oprah Winfrey. So when I did that, you know, and again, touching the TV, that let me know that at that point, everything after I touched that TV and everything after news anchor woman that she did was on television. Because I went over there and touched that TV with my power, just like the basketball with Kobe. And everything she did after the news anchor woman was television. When I went over there and touched it, it was a news anchor woman that appeared. And anything after that was in television. Once I touched the television, she did a talk show for 25 years. She did her own network. That's been 10 plus years now. You know, and then she could always pull out the camera. And that's not only that, she was in movies. Oprah Winfrey also was in movies, and she cast people in movies that she had also done, and stuff like that, throughout the years. You know, so you know, when I think about Oprah Winfrey, man, I think that I see a lot of Oprah. I see a lot of me in Oprah. I really do. I said that for years. You know, every time I would see her and stuff. I said that for years, but I think that interview that I had seen her in one day, and she said that she always knew that she was destined for greatness. When she said that, I just knew. Something sparked something in me that said, I feel the same way. And for some reason, it happened to be Oprah. And it's amazing, you know, because I think I see a lot of me in Oprah. I really do. For years. It's not just now. For years, I always felt that. I just knew that, you know, for years, I always felt that. And you know, and every time I would see her, it just reminded me, you know, but I never knew that I would connect with Oprah. I never knew that I knew. Well, before 2006, when the legends, that letter that I saw, and all the signals I got from her, man. Before that, again, I did, you know, see the interview that she had did and said she was destined for greatness. But I knew that she was very intelligent. I knew that, but I think I think it was something in Oprah that I knew that I saw in myself, and that I saw me in Oprah. I definitely did throughout the years and everything. And I think when I go back and look at 1982, 83, that's when the day I went over to the TV and plugged into her. Everything what was in me went straight to Oprah. And same thing with Kobe Bryant. Everything that with the basketball, that when I was way past half court and threw the ball all the way toward the basket, and it goes into the basket, and I transferred that same type of play into a future basketball player who was born the same year I threw the ball up. And that person happened to be Kobe Bryant. And I think it happened the same way with Oprah Winfrey. That day when I was there, and before I turned that TV, when I went over to that TV and touched that TV, and then a news anchor woman appeared there with the same interests as mine. Power exude exude right into her life. That hook up. He always used my interest. Whoever God uses, he always used the likewise interest. If I had an interest in news anchor woman, a news anchor woman was going to show up. And exactly that's what happened. And it was Oprah Winfrey. When I had interest in basketball, he touched Kobe. Kobe Bryant was born. Kobe Bryant was born the same year I threw the ball up. And he used the likewise interest. He always used the likewise interest. And power. I keep saying that because that's exactly what happened. It was power. It was not just like the news anchor woman and that's it. No, power exuded out of me into them, into their lives. Power exuded from the basketball. When I threw the basketball up past half court, a star was born, and Kobe Bryant was born. And that power. Once I threw the ball I'm way past half court, and I threw the ball all the way toward the basket. He was born the same in 1978 when I threw the ball toward the basket. That was 1978, and Kobe Bryant was born 1978. And so when I think of that, I think about the power, because that style of play shows up in his play when he played basketball in the future. When like I said, once I threw that basketball up way past half court into that basket, Kobe Bryant was born that year, and he became a future basketball player as well. And that same style of play that I threw the basketball way past half court all the way up into to the basket. Kobe Bryant had that style of play. And so like that, and to me that's power exuded from me to him. And the same thing with Oprah, power exuded from me to her. God used her that day. Let me get from this truck. exuded for me that day. Power exuded.
Ikaw ay